On the evening of May 3, 1999, the skies over central Oklahoma gave birth to one of the strongest tornadoes ever documented. In just 85 minutes, an F5 tornado would carve a 38-mile path of destruction through the communities of Bridge Creek Moor and beyond, claiming 36 lives and forever changing the science of tornado research. During the storm, mobile Doppler radar measured winds of 301 miles per hour, with peak winds estimated as high as 321 miles per hour, the highest ever associated with a tornado. More than 2 decades later, the Bridge Creek Moor tornado remains the benchmark by which every violent tornado is measured. The day had begun like many spring afternoons across Oklahoma, but meteorologists knew something was different. Warm, humid air surged north from the Gulf of Mexico, colliding with cooler, drier air over the plains as powerful upper-level winds created the perfect environment for rotating supercells. As the atmosphere grew increasingly unstable, forecasters upgraded central Oklahoma to a moderate risk for severe weather. Every ingredient was in place. It was no longer a question of whether tornadoes would form, but how dangerous they would become. By mid-afternoon, towering thunderstorms erupted across southwestern Oklahoma. One storm quickly stood out. Forming in Tillman County around 3:30 p.m., the supercell strengthened rapidly as it tracked northeast, producing several tornadoes while continuing to intensify. Meteorologists watched its rotation tighten on radar, recognizing a textbook supercell capable of producing violent tornadoes. Storm chasers from across the country raced toward the storm, while television stations interrupted regular programming to warn viewers that dangerous weather was approaching Oklahoma City. At 6:23 p.m., the supercell produced another tornado just southwest of the small town of Amber. It began as a narrow funnel beneath the rotating storm, but rapidly grew into a massive wedge. Crossing Highway 92, it intensified with astonishing speed. Damage surveys would later reveal that the tornado had already reached F4 intensity only minutes after touching down. Everything in its path was about to face some of the strongest winds ever observed. The tornado continued northeast toward the rural community of Bridge Creek. Witnesses watched an enormous black wedge swallow the horizon, wrapped in rain, dust, and debris. Its roar grew louder until it drowned out everything else. What had begun as another tornado warning was rapidly becoming one of the most destructive storms in American history. When the tornado reached Bridge Creek, entire neighborhoods vanished beneath its rotating winds. Well-built homes were swept from their foundations, leaving only bare concrete slabs. Vehicles were hurled across fields like toys, while mobile homes disappeared in seconds. Investigators would later find sections of asphalt peeled from roads and deep ground, scouring where the tornado had stripped away grass, soil, and nearly everything anchored above it. Survey teams identified 2 separate areas of F5 damage, evidence of the extraordinary violence contained within the storm. As the tornado tore across Bridge Creek, the destruction became almost impossible to comprehend. Churches, businesses, and entire neighborhoods were reduced to splintered lumber and twisted metal. It left behind a landscape so transformed that many survivors struggled to recognize where their homes had once stood. For those caught directly in its path, almost nothing could withstand the storm's incredible force. Behind the tornado, emergency responders began receiving reports of catastrophic damage, but reaching the hardest-hit areas proved difficult. Roads were blocked by debris, downed power lines covered the streets, and emergency dispatchers were overwhelmed as thousands of calls poured in from across central Oklahoma. Yet while rescuers rushed toward Bridge Creek, the tornado showed no signs of ending. After crossing Interstate 44 and the Canadian River, the massive wedge briefly narrowed, giving the impression it was finally weakening, but it was only a temporary lull. Ahead lay the densely populated city of Moore, where tens of thousands of people were directly in its path. Within minutes, the tornado would strengthen once again, and the most famous and deadliest chapter of its journey was about to begin. As the tornado approached Moore, meteorologists realized this was no ordinary tornado. Radar showed an exceptionally powerful circulation heading straight for one of Oklahoma's largest communities. At 6:57 p.m., the National Weather Service in Norman issued the first tornado emergency ever recorded, warning that a violent tornado was on the ground and threatening thousands of lives. Across central Oklahoma, television stations stayed on the air as meteorologists urged residents to seek shelter immediately. For many families, those warnings provided the precious minutes they needed to reach shelter. Others were already running out of time. The tornado regained full strength as it entered more. Sirens echoed across the city as thousands of families made desperate runs to closets, bathrooms, basements, and storm shelters. Others watched from windows in disbelief as the enormous black wedge emerged through the rain, growing larger with every passing second. Then it struck. Entire neighborhoods vanished as homes, businesses, schools, and apartment complexes were ripped apart in seconds. Power poles snapped like twigs, vehicles were hurled through the air, and trees were stripped bare. The massive wedge carved relentlessly through the city, leaving behind a trail of devastation broadcast live to millions of viewers across the country. As the tornado tore through more, a team operating a mobile Doppler radar captured a historic measurement. Winds inside the circulation reached 301 miles per hour, with peak winds estimated as high as 321 miles per hour. More than 25 years later, no tornado has ever surpassed that measurement. Although many called it an F6, the Fujita scale officially ends at F5, and tornadoes are rated by the damage they cause, not measured wind speed. After remaining on the ground for 85 minutes and carving a 38-mile path across central Oklahoma, the tornado finally weakened northeast of Midwest City and lifted. The deafening roar faded into an eerie silence. Survivors emerged from basements, closets, and storm shelters to find neighborhoods reduced to rubble. Streets had vanished, familiar landmarks were gone, and many no longer recognized the places they had called home. Emergency responders from across Oklahoma immediately launched massive search and rescue operations. Firefighters, police, National Guard members, volunteers, and neighbors worked side by side through the night, climbing over shattered homes and mountains of debris in search of anyone still trapped beneath the wreckage. Every cry for help brought renewed urgency as rescuers searched collapsed buildings, listening carefully for voices and signs of life beneath the debris. Among the destruction came one extraordinary story of survival. 10-month-old Aleah Crago had been torn from her mother's arms when the family's home was destroyed. Hours later, rescuers made an incredible discovery. Against overwhelming odds, Aleah was found alive beneath the debris. Although her family suffered heartbreaking loss, her rescue became one of the disaster's most unforgettable moments, a powerful reminder that hope can still be found, even in the darkest circumstances. Not every story ended with a miracle. In the Willow Lake edition, a mobile home community in Bridge Creek, the tornado obliterated nearly every structure in its path. Many of the storm's fatalities occurred there, highlighting the extreme danger faced by communities without adequate storm shelters. The disaster also shattered one of the most dangerous myths about tornado safety. As the storm approached, several motorists abandoned their vehicles and sheltered beneath highway overpasses, believing the concrete structures would protect them. Instead, the powerful winds funneled through the narrow openings, killing and seriously injuring those seeking refuge. Since that day, meteorologists and emergency officials have consistently warned that overpasses are among the worst places to shelter during a tornado. When the final surveys were complete, the tornado had claimed 36 lives and injured 583 people. It also caused an estimated $1 billion in damage across central Oklahoma. Yet experts later concluded that modern forecasting, Doppler radar, and continuous television coverage had likely saved hundreds more by giving families enough time to reach shelter before the tornado arrived. More than 25 years later, the Bridge Creek Moore tornado remains one of the most important tornadoes in history. It produced the highest winds ever measured, led to the first tornado emergency, and reshaped tornado forecasting forever. Its scars remain across central Oklahoma, but so does its legacy, a reminder of nature's incredible power and the importance of every warning issued before the next storm arrives. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, be sure to subscribe to EpicWildSphere for more cinematic documentaries exploring history's most powerful tornadoes and the world's most extraordinary natural disasters.